it's time to talk about flu season, and with us today is Dr. Scott James from Children's Hospital. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So you work with a lot of children, obviously, and but right now you said you haven't seen a lot there, thankfully, at Children's, right?
It's early in the flu season, and we've not seen a lot of it yet, thankfully.
And I know each year there are different strains of the flu, and so that's why we have different shots. Talk about where we are right now.
So last year actually ended up being one of the worst flu seasons that we've seen in recent memory. We had, in America alone, 80,000 people died from flu or flu-related illnesses. So this year, that seems to have been a reminder that it can be a very dangerous thing. So early on this season, we're actually seeing more people getting their flu shot than we have in previous years. So we're very optimistic about that.
Are the people who do end up losing their lives, sadly, to this, are there underlying issues in a lot of those cases, or can just a normal, healthy person end up losing their life because of the flu?
Having underlying issues is definitely a risk factor. It would make it more likely for you to have serious complications or need to be hospitalized. Very old or young people can certainly be at risk for worse stuff. But flu is, particularly some of the types of strains, including the one that circulated a lot last year, can affect even just healthy people with no other underlying issues.
And it's not just the fact that maybe you could get the flu and you could take the medicine and get through it okay, but if you're infected, you can infect other people, right?
Yeah, so even if you're handling it okay, and maybe you don't have some risk factors, but if you're not careful about how you're interacting with the world around you, you could spread it to others who would have risk factors that would put them at serious risk of having a complication or need to be hospitalized or even passing away.
All right, let's talk about some of the things that people can do to try to prevent it from happening in the first place.
The number one thing you can do is get your flu shot. It remains the most effective way to prevent your risk of the flu. It's not too late in the season to get the flu shot now. We like most people to try to get it by the end of October, but it's not too late now. So if you've not gotten your flu shot yet, go ahead and get it. We recommend that everyone 6 months and older get it. Aside from that, just general good public health practices such as washing your hands often, making sure that if you feel sick or you think you might have the flu, that you're limiting your contact with other people. Handle your sneezes and coughs well, have good cough etiquette, don't spread that around that way. Those are just good general public health practices that are good to have during cold and flu season.
I do think in recent years we've gotten more conscious of that. And people coughing, you used to cough right in your hand, now you do it in the sleeve, you know, in the arm, so that does help a little bit.
It's a good,
All right, let's talk about some of, as we wrap up, some of the things that, what else are you seeing right now?
So one of the other infections that we're seeing a lot of right now is called RSV. It's a respiratory virus that's very common. If you or I got it, it might just be kind of an annoying cold, but for very young infants and potentially older adults as well, it can cause pretty serious lung involvement and respiratory problems, and it causes hundreds of thousands of hospitalizations.
So is that diagnosed after you've had what seem like similar problems that you may have had before, and then it ends up being that, or is there something specific to that? It's
usually, so what we're seeing it is in younger infants, it starts as a kind of a runny nose type thing, but then it goes to severe respiratory problems.
It's very scary.
Difficulty breathing, needs oxygen support and things of that nature.
So we always talk about how it's okay to, you know, as moms, you know, or dads, we worry about overreacting. I don't think you can overreact, though, when it comes to your children with like that, can you?
If you're seeing any signs and symptoms, you want to keep a close eye on it. If things seem to be going in the wrong direction, it's always a good idea to talk to your healthcare provider.
All right, I think that's good advice. Dr. Scott James from Children's Hospital, good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Jenna.
Thanks for coming by.